Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Wide Podcast. Here we discuss family, life, law, business, and everything in between. My name is Val. I'll be your host.
And I'm still Hansen. I'll be your co-host. I'll be your
co-host. At least quiz umeimprove, unajiita co-host. Kitambo hivi hizo episodes zingine ni kama ulikuwa unajaribu kunisukuma kando kidogo.
No, but see, you're my co-host and I'm your co-host.
Oh. Okay. Aya, proceed.
We are in the month of December. We are sharing
good cheer,
good vibes,
festivity.
Kila kitu iko sawa. But Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to everybody.
In advance.
Mimi niko na shida.
Shida iko wapi?
Wewe umedunga nini? Mimi mbona huku ni wai memo. Nikange nikijua tunafaa kuvaa kofia and the like.
Sasa si kofia tu. Na cheki. Si nimekungarisha hapa sasa shida iko wapi? Tuko na match ya. Tubu kwa naambia wasa alafu ndio mimi niseme jua inge pangu fresh.
We are very, very, very excited to announce that during our second season, we will actually be making merchandise for our platform. And the pilot program of it is whatever we are wearing. One color is what I have on, gray t-shirt, the Wide Podcast logo. Same thing over here. Uwa ameniangusha hesabu, ameongezea bucket hat na hakuniambia tunafaa kufanya hivyo. Plus, I can see that your bucket hat is like branded something different.
Yes.
What's that about?
So this is my boy Tende is doing this. Tende is should be 2 times cancer survivor. He's yes. This is a project he's doing just to
good job,
manage
Tende.
and also assist other people, who are going through this journey. So guys, go on Instagram, follow Hope Mode on, follow Tende, and you'll get hooked up with part of the hoodies. We have water bottles, they have bucket hats, they have golf caps if I'm not wrong. This is what
Neza pata crop top.
Tende tengeneze crop top. Hapo siko sure. But yeah, that's how I got this bucket. Yes, and I thought this should be a good episode to have it on, considering there's kuna makala alafu mimi ni white kama pamba nini unampata.
Na leo wewe ni mweupe by the way. Sijui kama huku kwa studio wametufanyia ile kitu.
The grace is sufficient.
For sure. Ndio nimeona. I really like that. I really like that because people who know me in a personal capacity, you know how it hit home that, people who are going through cancer and whatnot. Yeah. If you know me in a personal capacity, you understand why that hits home. So I definitely will be supporting that. Platform while at it, because it's always good. It's not easy if you've never been in a situation like that, it might not make sense until it actually hits home. But for people who have been through it, you know what that means to the people who you support through that.
Correct.
On top of that, I like the bucket hat. I'm definitely getting myself one.
Good.
Yeah, I'm definitely. Inakuja na colors zingine?
Color kuna yellow, kuna black, kuna colors ni mob. Kuna
ya wakale.
Tende. Back to you in studio.
Back to you in production.
Back to you in production. Yeah. Hook up this Kale babe with what she needs. Yeah, mtengenezea sport shoes.
Okay.
Zimeandikwa.
Iko kwa ifike hapo.
Akienda kupiga zile malabu zake pale morning mahali.
Niko na viatu za mbio at least I know I'm representing a cause that makes sense. Correct. Yeah. But yeah, I like that. Such causes that if you guys have any that you know that are going on that you think might be a good collaboration for our platform, we're always happy to collaborate and to support such. Yes. And on top of that also, we have our, as you can see today, paka leo tuko na mugs. Na ni frosted, si ile kikombe ya kawaida. Ulisema ati maziwa ndio inapimwa different.
Msiangalie najua sasa ile economy tuko ndani hata nyinyi.
Leo tunakunywa strong tea.
Atu budget ya maziwa kidogo imekuwa problem.
Imeleta shida.
Yeah.
Must go. If you know who. People were arraigned in court for saying that one name. Yeah. Yeah, that person must go. But yeah, this is also part of the merchandise that we will be putting out in season 2. So I just want us to get straight into it. during this episode, I just want you to tell us, like, why is this episode special? What is it about? Like, what are we doing? Because I'm sure our avid listeners have already noticed that we missed 1 week in dropping. That was very on purpose because of the special work that needed to go into the production of this particular episode, and for us to be able to bring you, like, the stories and, like, a snippet of what you can expect from us in season 2. So can you just go ahead and tell us, like, why, one, we are late by are we really late by a week? No, it was on purpose. And yeah, what makes this episode special?
So, are you ready? Are you ready, Wena?
Wena.
Let me sit up right.
In it.
In it. This is a very special episode. In fact, I'm so excited. Because, as I said, it's kind of a pilot of what season 2 would look like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So today we are not just Val and Hansen. Yeah. We have a very special guest in studio. Yeah. A father, a director, a banker, a family man, a fintechpreneur.
Wait, umeshasema pati ya director? Jack of all trades, literally.
Yes.
Please, without any further ado.
Drum rolls, please. Let me say please.
Please. Introducing
Leslie. Hey. Karibu men.
Asante sana.
Asante sana. Uko aje?
Niko poa.
Usijifanye venye wewe ni humble saizi. Ati juu umechochwa.
Kuna mali amesahau na ni kama itaniletea shida. I'm also a husband.
By the way. Introduce yourself.
Hi guys. I'm Leslie Mwangale. I'm a husband, a father, a son, a brother. I also work for financial institution. I'm a director at Kenya Rugby Union, and I'm also into tech. So that's basically what I'm really getting into right now. Yes.
How many wives?
Just one.
He's a husband.
Just one, baby. Just one. And I love her very much.
You love her, yeah. Very important.
Just one. Just one.
And you love her very much.
I love her very much.
Before we got on set, I told you, hii masomo imeleta shida. Na mimi nataka watu wakubaliane na mimi. I
feel like I'm not gonna like where this conversation is headed.
I actually tweeted this sometimes back.
Yeah.
Mimi naona masomo imefanya tunapigana sana.
Nani na nani?
Sana gender wars.
Okay.
Kama tungekuwa tumesoma maneno ya sijui feminism, sijui ati women, maneno ya men ngoja masijo wende msoma English. Misogynists
and like patriarchy.
Hatungekuwa na hii conversation.
Na kwa nini karibu umeze ulimi? Ni misogyny my G.
Hiyo. Tunaona niko na idea at least.
Uko pabaya.
That's why you come in.
Noma.
Anyway.
Hapo mimi I plead the fifth.
Una plead the fifth. Let me defend my thesis. The reason as to why I'm saying that is because I feel like tungekuwa kibush mahali. Imagine tu. Akungekuwa na kitu ya my dress matches. Kwa sababu nikwambia hizi vitu za sijui ati how you should groom, how you should sijui cover up. Hizi vitu hazikukua.
Zilikuja na meli.
Mzungu ndio ameleta masomo. Ametuconfuse. Tulikuwa very happy in our bushes. Very happy.
And thriving
in our bushes.
And rich.
Very rich by the way. Mtu ako na ng'ombe kama 200. Sasa ng'ombe 200 mtu ako nazo peke yake ni
ule mse. Unatoki kwa arrange.
Hata by the way sasa angekuwa na makuku mob. Hakuna mtu sure, acha nikwambie. Amoni idea yangu ni poa.
Ni legit.
Tukikuwa tu bushman unakutana na ndemu kwa river mnaongea mnaelewana ni aje? Tutoke mbio, tuelope. Mtarudi huko
mnaenda kwa Bank Southwest pale River Jordan.
Hatungekuwa na Twitter, hatungekuwa tuna fight Twitter.
A lot of pressure.
Hizi English words zimekuja kwa sababu ya how we see each other differently. Azingekuwa we would be happy. Ama nyinyi mnaona sina
point iko.
Si ndio? Masomo imekuja tunapigana, egos are fighting.
Point iko.
Lakini sasa shida nimesoma pia mimi. But if given a chance to can get hiyo power. By the way tungerudi huko.
To take it back like that.
We imagine tuko na kibush, unaona 200 acres of bush.
Saizi Kenya ungekuwa una worry about and I know you'll understand this. Ungekuwa una worry about kama sasa saizi ukipata avocado inatoshana na watermelon. Unaona?
Umechill tu kwa bush yako unangoja kiva.
Na by the way mbona hawezi tengeneza avocado kubwa hivyo?
Ziko.
Kama watermelon
wapi? Kama watermelon. Sweet melon kale kenye kanatoshana hivi. Sio bado ni melon.
Avocado okay ziko kubwa lakini ya bayo inafaa basi jua ameleta masomo ameamua tusome.
Watengeneze avocado inatoshana na
watermelon. Inaweza make sense mbaya.
Hapo sasa tutaanza kuelewana nao. Hapo sasa tutaanza kuelewana hii masomo inatusaidia aje. Juu acha nikuulize, watu wamesoma Kenya, si ndio? Si ni kweli? And I'd like our guests to weigh in on this. Watu wamesoma Kenya. Hawana kazi. What's the difference between us staying in our bush without na kazi yetu kwa kulima?
Kushinda wewe na degree yako kubwa hivyo vyote and you can't even get employment.
Student tuko kwa bushman. And we were very happy. Hakuna expectation, hakuna inflation.
And I agree, by the back then, even without that masomo, you'd have work.
Exactly.
Utaenda ulime.
Uende ulime, ukule yako.
Ufanye butter
Ama uende hunting.
Uende hunting.
Kwanza ni fun, iko na thrill. Sasa inalipia hunting.
Unalipia hunting wapi?
Kuna place.
Unalipa ku hunt?
Yeah, you go unapatiwa.
Una hunt nini kwanza?
Si antelopes nini, but you have to pay because it's controlled. Like it's a reserve for the rich.
You know where we've figured Hansen? Sometimes I can never tell when you're buying Newfoundland. You're about stuff.
No, it's true.
Yeah,
no, it's
true. There's a place, like a hunting range.
Like I think place like maybe
for game meat.
Yes, for game meat. You go there. It's controlled though, because it has to. It doesn't look. It must not look like poaching. Yeah, so it's very controlled. And what you hunt is what you
take home.
No, not home. Si mnaipo kwa hotel alafu mna
chapa nyama choma hapo, antelope hapo nini marination.
Kwani kumlienda hii form na mku ni invite na niko nafikiria ni
friends. The point I'm just saying today.
Kama mlienda hii form na mku ni invite na friends.
Can you hunt?
With the right skills, why not?
Lakini sasa imagine sasa uko Kericho. Uko natoka 12 na hii miaka yako sasa ungekuwa number 12. Uko na waka, sasa umezaa tu waka, hata uemploy labor yani.
I don't need a workforce in my farm kwa sababu watoi wangu.
Wewe ni kampuni vile uko hivi umesha generate.
Hivyo. Niko na employees hata silipi pay, sina hiyo stress. Do you know, funny enough, I don't think they'd mind me talking about this, but you know that's how my my mom grew up. Because like my grandfather is like a tea tycoon of some sorts. So kina my mom at their age during school holidays usifikiri ati unakuja huku kuchill. Kuna hiyo kitu enye unava hivi inakaa kama
basket.
That's a basket. I don't know what it's called in Kikale, so I don't know what it's called in English. Mesende.
Honestly, I didn't think you'd, but anyway.
Imagine I do speak Kale. Actually, contrary to popular opinion, I'm actually really good at it. Even when I get to Kericho, like I can just feel like tukianza ku drive hivi down Brook to hivi, I can just feel like the Kale in me, like just come alive. Hata Kiingereza ngori. Lakini pale utapata na mimi na dira, leso na kitambaa nimefunga hivi. Utafikiria
sendet
tamge.
Mesendet. Mesendet.
Hey, my God. I will not let you butcher my language like that. But yeah, like kina my mom, during their holidays, when they used to be like in high school and stuff, that's the stuff they used to do. Like you're told that, where do you think your school fees is going to come from if you like don't do this, nini. And it's not like my grandfather was like broke like that he couldn't actually afford to pay for that. It's just, I think it's one of those things that we talked about in one of our episodes, passing value more than like the actual inheritance.
Yeah.
You know.
You get to understand actually your part. Yes.
So by the time your folks are giving you like 100 G's for this and this and this, you know where it came from and stuff like that. It's not like something that you take for granted or anything like that. So they used to do that. So when I was a kid also, like it just used to be fun, like to go to the tea farms to go do the same thing. But then now, me I was tuning the wrong things. like nachuna tu hivi tunazirusha hivi nyuma, hata zingi ndani ya hiyo basket zinaenda tu.
Unaharibu chai.
Si nafanya kitu ilikuwa inaitwa aje? I don't want to butcher it. Like
Just
professional tea farmers in Kikale. Kebuche machoton. Yani like basically it means like it's like weeding of some sorts. Like you see, like how you pick tea, the right tea is supposed to be 2 leaves and a bud. So like
before
anything,
you continue, you don't look like that language.
I know. I'm always underestimated for it, and I love it.
Said it.
Missing it. I'm always underestimated for it, and I love it because people sengenya me in the village because they just think like akai kujua kuongea hivyo. Alafu nangoja tu mnaongea mnamaliza tu hivi. I'm like lego le nenye. Basically hapo nimeuliza sasa mmesema nini? Kila mtu scatter.
That time normally tutakuwa tunaongea Kikale.
Bana.
It is important though. Sasa unajua hiyo ndio
lugha ya serikali. Hiyo ndio lugha ya serikali.
Secondary national language.
Lazima ujue lugha ya serikali.
Lazima tujue.
Ya kujitetea.
Yeah, so me I used to do like the bad tea. Chema choto sorry.
What?
I honestly did see that happening. But like when I'm in that like mood and when I'm in that space, it really just comes out. So me like I just used to tuna for the sake of it. And my grandfather, I remember he used to be so impressed by it because it's like, hey, who you? At least anajua kazi. Anajua. Hey, but when I thought about it at some point, the day you're coming back to Nairobi, like the itchiness that you feel uku on your fingers because of like the picking of the tea.
But there are no snakes inside there, yeah?
Depends on the season.
Oh, the seasons were there.
Yeah.
So
during July.
Unapigana nyoka kabisa?
I hapo ngori. Around between May and like April, August, because of the weather and everything, like it's very conducive for them to exist there because the ground is cold enough, but in between the tea bushes, it's warm enough for them to like just chill. So see, like there are parts in between like the tea farms and everything. You could just be walking and then you just feel something just as.
Oh no.
What?
Unapita tu unasikia tu.
Yeah.
So every time, like when you're in the shamba and then you just see somebody start running, wherever you are at.
Run the same direction. I'm opposite.
Same direction. Because hao wanahepa pia. So kama unaenda huku kwingine, unaenda penye ngori iko. That's why they usually say, even in the US, you've never seen, like when one black person starts running, kila mtu.
Alafu kuna Kenya. Alafu kuna Kenya. Bonyoro nakimbia against. Nini imefanyika?
Nini?
Anyway, Leslie, we are happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Glad to be here as well. You guys are doing a stellar job.
Thank you.
With you guys from your first episode up until now. And I can say that you're doing a good job.
Big up for the support.
Cheers up.
Big up for the support.
Kachai.
Now
that tunakuwa bodi ya majani chai.
Mana. KTDA. Kati of the teach. Thank you very much.
Na hiyo banki yako utusaidie bana hata kalon kamaziwa.
So you're doing a good job. I think this is one area that a lot of people, it needs to be demystified.
Yeah.
A lot of people have a lot of questions about the law, about how to approach some things, about contracts. I think it's a good platform for you guys just to put yourself out there and to interact with your potential clients.
Yeah. It's good that you've clearly just expressed and articulated what we are about. Clearly you are a fan and we are happy to have you.
Ndio maana yako na kikombe ya wide na nyinyi hamna.
Hiyo kombe uende nayo home.
Hiyo ni yako.
Itanisaidia sana kwa chai. Hapo kwa chai.
Hiyo enda nayo home. Hiyo ni yako.
We'll make sure ni kutumia majani chai. Usikujwe ni nyenye na kai hivi anymore.
So now, Leslie, you told us that you are a father, you're a husband. Oh, you're a husband, you're a father, a son, a brother, a banker, a fintechpreneur, a director.
What are you not?
How do you balance all this?
Well,
It depends.
it depends. It depends. But it's just loving what you do. I mean, when you go to rugby, I've played rugby my whole life. I've coached. I've run a rugby team. So for me, it's second nature. It's something that I'm used to. In the business side, I mean, tech is something that I'm passionate about. So it comes easy for me to just get into it, trying to come up with solutions for problems. For me, it's like it's second nature. That's why I find it easy just to do it. On family, of course, with work, you need to find a balance. So I always try and make time for famu, for the wife, for the kids, and of course for the larger family. So I mean, you love what you do, you'll find it easy just to go through it. Yeah.
Okay. So you are a person who values, because before we got on set also we had discussion. Is it passion first or money first?
It's passion first.
So
Money
if at
follows
all,
passion.
if you had all the money, you'd still do whatever you're doing right
Exactly.
now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
No, that's good.
That's how you know you're on the right path.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know, purpose drives men, eh?
It does.
Unajua unaniambia ni kama ati unani-inform kitu kama yenye ni mpya. I have interacted with men. Broski, we've been friends for years. So unajaribu kusema influence yenye umekuwa nayo kwa life yangu haijakuwa na any impact.
Wazi brother.
Eh.
He didn't say hiyo imepita, acha tuende nayo.
You can see alikuwa anaenda kunichomea.
Kuna vile alikuwa ameanza kuchukua trajectory nyingine.
So so Les, here we discuss, we try and make legal conversations fun. Yeah, because as you know, I'm an advocate. She's also an advocate of the High Court. So we try and have legal conversations in a very fun way. So today we want you to tell us, do you have a legal story that ukikumbuka hivi unasema, hey, I wish I knew.
Kumbavu mimi.
Unasema kumbavu mimi.
Mwanangu.
Unaanza kujipasha unasema,
What was I doing?
What
wrong
if
place,
I would have
wrong timing.
Wrong time. I wish I had complied.
Yeah. I wish I knew better.
Do you have a story that aligns to such kind of a conversation? Tusikie. If yes, then tutachukulia kutoka hapo. Do you have such kind of?
I think before you even take it away, I think the concept that we're trying to bring across is that part where there are some things that can happen in your life. Usumbui mtu. You're just minding your own business, living your own life. But you find yourself in the wrong place at the wrong time, making the wrong choices that at the time you think that are the best choices, but then inakuja inakuramba sasa mbele baadaye. So like, have you ever had like a situation where you had like a run-in in the law where one, you did not even foresee it in the first place. Second, wewe kwa akili yako so solve whatever the problem is.
Yes.
Tumeshakubaliana kiwanaume story nyingine imeisha kiwamens. And that is just a figure of speech. It doesn't necessarily like connote to any gender of some sort. It's actually a concept because men are generally seemed to be tukishaelewana kiwanaume tumemaliza hiyo story. Women, as we are the ones who like tend to undercut each other every once in a while.
Sio sisi tumesema.
But that is not a conversation that we're having today. So I want you to talk to us about an instance where it was exactly like that. Wrong place, wrong time. You thought you already sorted the situation. And then baadaye, when you already forgot about it, you moved on, you thought this has already gone away, all of it. Then it's when now, it's coming now to hit you and you are in an actual legal problem. Have you ever experienced something like that?
Definitely. I mean, living in Kenya, especially Nairobi, who hasn't had a brush with the law? But before I say that, you've just said that you're trying to, have fun around discussion of the law, which is very important because for most people, we only interact with lawyers kama mmevaa hizo ma 3-piece suit kwa ofisi,
ya kusumbua.
suti ya kusumbua, you know,
Eh.
tunaona tu kwa
There's a
TV.
perception you have about us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tunaona kwa TV time ya petition na hot air.
Hot air tena. Hot air tena.
Chenye najaribu kusema ni for most people when you want to have a legal conversation, there seems to be a barrier that people can't get over because they assume that when you want to meet a lawyer, it has to be so formal. And ni kama utalipishwa consultation.
Okay, utalipishwa but
kitu lazima.
Kitu
Ni
kidogo
lazima.
tu.
Kidogo tu.
Watu wasilie sana.
But sasa watu hawaelewi.
Anasema nafikiria tunanunua na nini.
Watu hawaelewi that you can actually have a free conversation with lawyers. Okay, it doesn't need to be very formal in an office with the lawyer wearing a 3-piece suit.
In fact, what you're having here is a free conversation. If you think about it,
Exactly.
it's as we're doing pro bono, kind of.
Yes.
For lack of a better
And
term.
just trying to demystify the whole profession. I think it is very key. Because anytime mtu akikwambia, you know, you'll need a lawyer, you're like,
Are we fighting? No, but then, yeah. And why is it now that you are on the other side of it? Would you place a finger on such kind of issue where people see us as soldiers? The moment you hear the word lawyer, the first thing we are going to war. It's guns blazing. Is it? Do you think that it's because Kenyans are so used to non-compliance to a point that by the time they're getting a lawyer,
I believe so.
I
believe
we
so.
don't
Like
get
it says,
lawyers early enough
to
manage a relationship.
Because some of the issues that a typical Kenyan faces, if you get advice early enough, you'll be able to navigate through it. But if you wait until kila kitu imeharibika, you're on your ends, then now you're coming to get now the legal advice from your lawyer, then it becomes another conversation. So a lawyer is part of your everyday life, just like a doctor.
Like a service provider like any other.
Aungojangi.
Naomba urudie hiyo part.
Aseme tena.
Lawyer
this time.
A lawyer is part of your everyday life, just like a doctor. Daktari aungojangi ati manze hiyo on your deathbed ndo unaanza kumwambia daktari nisaidie. Once you feel bad kidogo, hata kama ni homa, you'll go to a doctor. Homa atakupatia hizo dawa za homa nini itaisha. But if you wait until you're almost done, is when you're seeing a doctor, there's much that they can actually do. So, I mean, that is a comparison.
It is important that people understand. I think it's good that you brought that point. Most people would say, why should I get a lawyer? Lawyers are kind of expensive.
They lie to us.
Boss, shiko alafu ukuje. Ukisha shiko unataka uongo yangu ikutoe
hapo ndani.
But you must admit that that's a narrative.
It is a perception. It is a perception.
But we don't lie.
It is a perception.
There are two things. My grandfather told me when I got admitted to the bar. There are two things that a lawyer does. Finds out the truth or tells the truth. It's always about the truth. If you are prosecuting a case, you are there to tell the truth. If you are defending a case, you're there to find out the truth.
Yeah.
It's always about the truth. Yeah. But back to my conversation, what I was saying is that you always hear the saying you are one sickness away from poverty. But you'll never hear you are one
non-compliance situation
to poverty.
It's the same thing.
Which means that even lawyers are cheaper if you think about it. Most times is that a sickness, and sorry to use that as an example, will drive you nuts. And it's something that you cannot control. But getting a lawyer, just that we've compared us to doctors, and yes, we fix situations, but we can also, even medicine is used to prevent. Yeah. And to that extent, what I'm gathering is that you are encouraging guys, be more preventive than curative.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So get a lawyer
Exactly.
early.
In
In
your
case you have a
dealings,
situation,
in your dealings,
in your
in anything,
dealings,
yes,
have a lawyer in your life the same way you have a
mapema,
doctor.
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
early
Yeah.
enough, because now you get to navigate some of this issue easier. You even get to just guard yourself against frauds na vitu kama hizo. So I highly recommend.
Wakili. I think one of the things that you are actually alluding to, Les, that Hansen and I stay talking about all the time is the part where we usually say, if you think,
Send it. Eh?
need to be send it. If you think compliance is expensive, try non-compliance. Yeah, we always say that all the time in all our platforms, and with every single like conversation we always have, we always point that out based off of the conversation we are having. If you think that complying in this area of life is going to be expensive for you, try not complying, and then you see what it's going to do for you. Yeah, so I think that's the point you're also trying to drive
Yes,
across.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was so eager. Ebu tell us your story. Kwani
We-
nilikufanyikia?
Hey.
Yenye umekuwa philosophical hivi?
Bro, I had to be philosophical. And any time that I talk to anyone about issues of the law, I always advise fuata tu sheria. I had a particular experience a while back, a few years back, and that experience left me with a sour taste kwa mdomo, because I actually never thought that it could actually happen.
Yeah.
So there's this particular evening that I was just nilikuwa tu naenda home.
Huko hata unasumbua mtu.
Sikuwa hata nasumbua mtu.
Unaenda tu home.
Nilikuwa naenda tu home.
Nakubaliana nawe kabisa.
Yes. So I was actually driving. So when I was getting into the road, I got an accident.
Which road is this?
Kasarani. Yes. So I got an accident. Somebody just came and hit my car on the side, on the driver's door, on the side, and accident happened. Then of course, as we usually do as Kenyans, tunatoka kwa gari,
Unaangalia, una assess
unaangalia,
damage.
unashanga umse ni nini. So the perpetrator, unaona hizo majargon.
You're doing well.
The
You're doing well.
jargons,
You've been
eh?
watching
Uko tu
our
sawa.
podcast.
Pia akatoka nje ya gari. So it was a lady, and she actually appeared drunk. She wasn't as sober as I was. So of course
Ulikuwa unaenda home.
I was just going home. Nilikuwa naenda tu
Yeah.
home.
Hiyo
Hata
part
huko
ni
unasumbua mtu.
important sana.
Hata sikuwa nasumbua
I kind of
mtu.
feel like that's what our episode will be called. Like nilikuwa tu naenda home.
Nilikuwa naenda home.
Huko unasumbua mtu.
So
These
she
are new men who value that part, eh? Nilikuwa tu naenda home.
bana.
Tusipoenda
Amani.
kuleta shida. Sasa tunakwenda. Anyway,
Shida
story for another day.
zinatupata.
Hiyo
So
tukienda-
so akatoka kwa
tunapotea.
gari.
Shida ya masomo ndio hiyo unaona?
Shida ya masomo.
Tuendelee.
Tunaanza
Zimeanza.
So she alighted from her vehicle, akakuja, pia mimi nilikuwa nimetoka, and of course she seemed drunk. So akatoka and she was like, naona makosa ni yangu, so let's not cause a scene, tusongeshe tu gari kando, tuelewane. And I mean, who hasn't elewaned in this Nairobi once? Minor traffic infringement. Unaelewana tu, hii ni paintwork, sijui nini. So akatoka, so we agreed. She agreed to repair my vehicle. And the next
So
day
as at then you already established that the mistake was on
was
her
her.
part.
No, she even admitted. Akasema yenyewe makosa ni yangu. Si mind, nitatengeneza gari. Let's not complicate this thing. I'll make your vehicle.
So no cops were involved at that time.
No cops were involved. Akasema, fine, let's do this. Let's meet the next day so that we can go to her make. Gari tengenezwe. If I'm satisfied with how the car has been repaired, mi niende zangu, yeye ende zake. So to ensure that yeye hata toroka, we agreed, we exchanged our licenses. Hizi vitu si ufanya. Nikampatia DL yangu, nikachukua yake. I went home. Kafika home, nika explain your wife what happened, nini. We agreed to meet with this person the next day. Sawa. Mimi nikalala zangu. Woke up the next day. Met where we decided that we'd meet. Tukaenda
Now you're going to the MEC now.
Yes, we met. We went to the MEC. MEC akatengeneza dinga vizuri. Me, I went home. Nikamrudishia DL yake. Akanirudishia yangu. Case closed. The car is repaired.
To your satisfaction, might I add?
To my satisfaction.
Yeah.
I went back home. Nikaendelea na biashara zangu, nikaendelea na vitu zangu. 3 years later, I got served. I'm supposed to appear in court that I hit somebody and ran. And now the insurance company
The one that is suing
is
you.
now suing me because they actually repaired her vehicle and I was the one who was in the wrong. So now it came apparent that when tulielewana mimi nikaenda zangu, then she also went her way, akaanza kunipangia. So she went to the cops, she took out an abstract, she took an OB number, she went with it. She, of course, compromised some of the cops so that insurance ikikuja, waseme this and this and that. Ikakuwa hivyo. So I'm being served. I was supposed to pay about 500 Gs on what?
Wait.
Yes.
Wait.
That's why I see.
Acha tusip kwanza. Hiyo story imeanza kuwa sad, eh?
Mesende.
Chape chai kidogo.
Rusha huko.
Walinirusha huko.
Kama hiyo chai ilikuwa tunarusha kwa hiyo basket.
And wakili, apparently, the statute of limitations for such offenses is, I think, 3 years. So I was served, I think, 2 or 3 days before the...
So basically you're trying to say she just waited until your time where venye tulikuwa imebakisha tu kidogo tu elapse.
Kidogo.
When she's still within the window.
And remember, after 3 years, you're not even remembering the facts of the incident.
You probably don't even have the records.
Don't even remember the facts of the incidents. The only thing that I was remembering is it was a black car. I don't even remember the lady.
Unaenda home.
Kwa tunaenda home. So I was served. Now I had to lawyer up. I looked for a good lawyer. And of course, I sought advice from the lawyer. Lawyer akaniambia, okay, it seems that you are not in the wrong, but let's just fight this in court. One thing that made me realize that these guys were up to no good, they kept on trying to insist that we get an out-of-court settlement. Okay. So they're like, this process says nini, so instead of just paying the 500, can we just get an out-of-court settlement? Perhaps you agree on 300 and tumalizane na your story. Okay. So that was it. We went to court. The good thing that I had a good lawyer. I would recommend that you have a good lawyer on your speed dial, because you never know when it will come in handy.
So your first point of learning in this situation is the fact that at least ilikusaidia sana is the fact that you had a good lawyer who you could call immediately.
Yes. And who was willing to take up the case.
On a matter of urgency.
On a matter of urgency. Because if I didn't, and if I perhaps would have gone on my own, I would have lost that case. So lawyer akafanya mambo zake, unajonga tu vile pika nini mambo zake. So eventually the judge saw through the fraud and
the discrepancy in the facts,
and
of course.
Discrepancy in the facts.
Yeah.
And I was
acquitted.
Is it being acquitted?
Yes. Yeah.
Was I convicted? Really?
No, acquitted.
Okay, so I was acquitted, and of course, thankfully, I had a good lawyer at hand who was able to, take charge of the situation and ensure that I actually got out of it unscathed. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm gathering, kwanza pole sana.
Kimekuramba?
Buddha.
Pole sana.
3 years later.
Yani all you need to do.
Mbona ungepiga tu simu, hi, Hansen, nimepata accident. What should I do next?
Hapo alikuangusha kiboys kidogo.
That is why I'm recommending and I'm saying, even if you have a gentleman's agreement on such an issue, make sure that at least the authorities know that you agreed, but you've just reported for them to know, and you'll go on and set yourselves out.
Yeah, and sometimes it is important that you've told us that. All we're just trying to say, and it's not pushing at you, you're pushing business for us. You can talk to any other person. The point is, try to talk to somebody who understands that kind of space. The moment there's like, let me use an accident for in this case. All you need to do is call any lawyer. Hey boss, I'm in this predicament. We are agreeing like this. Is this the right way? They must not come even on site. Just, and at that point they would be like, hey Niaje, just make sure everything is in writing.
Is in writing, yeah.
So that in case there's anything that comes after that, we actually it cannot. But that lady was very selfish. How can you go and say hit and run yet you have a copy of his?
I was thinking the same thing. Like, if it was a hit and run, at what point were we even able to exchange our deals? You get? Yeah.
But anyway, Paul Lebana.
Thank you. What I'm trying to think is, you see, if they try and push you to have an out-of-court settlement, if you panic,
yes,
you would actually,
you actually will
many
pay.
people would panic and say, hey, and most people would actually say, okay,
afadhali
wacha tuelewane, mambo ya koti sitaki.
How was the experience? Giving the dog, how did it get to that level? By the way,
it did, because it was the time when we were doing the online courts.
Okay.
So I had to get in online, having your name mentioned. It's quite intimidating, by the way.
Oh, you felt?
Yeah.
So I can imagine if you would have gone into the doc.
Yeah.
That place is hot, my friend.
Whoa.
And it does not matter who you are.
Yes.
Ask that
Actually,
guy
that's very
who was
true.
doing rigijis. What was the name of that?
His name's Mutuse.
Mutuse.
Alikapitia.
It was getting hot.
Mutuse aliteseka.
Let's go there. Let's go there. You don't have to go there.
Let's go there.
Hey. By the time anafika hapo.
Oh my God.
So, and I think this could actually be a ploy. I think there are people out there that are actually doing this to
like make money.
People. Because once you're called to appear in court, and the other lawyer is telling you, okay, fine,
you could settle.
You don't have to go through all this. You could lose 500 Gs. Why don't we settle out of court? I think many people would actually take that option of settling out of court.
And I think like what you're saying, the angling is what actually really matters, because first of all, it's like you're selling me fear of some sorts. Exactly. Like, if you don't pay me this money, this is what I'm going to ask for in court, and this and this and this and this, and this is what you stand to lose and whatnot. But I'm happy if you pay me 300K as opposed to the 500. This whole story could go away.
Exactly.
But if you actually will feed into the fear without looking into the merit of the case in the first place.
Even if the case doesn't hold any water.
Yeah.
Yes.
Say,
the doc is intimidating.
Yes.
That's very true. That's for sure. It doesn't matter whether you. And so Mutus is a lawyer. You know that.
Yeah.
And it was hot
for him.
Hot.
Yeah.
And they went there.
Hey.
So other than that, Les, now that is a very serious matter. Have you had a run-in with the cops? Unajua kuna time, let me just give like a short story. There were times back then when Dunda was in town.
Yes.
Manzolo kuna shuka tu hivi unapata Maria.
Hapo kwa mlango.
Ingia
ukiingia, toka ukiingia.
Is it called Maria ama Mariamu? Ama both? Mariamu. Okay.
So Les, now umetuambia a very serious story.
Story?
That's a very serious story.
He's a bro.
The fact that you're going home, mimi
nakwenda tu home.
Especially Julko unaenda home.
Tunaenda home. Unaenda tu home.
Na tunataka credit kidogo mwanzo.
Please. Leo umefika mapema. Wow, karibu.
Hata inakuencourage.
So niulize. So niulize, as the only babe on this set. So niulize, like, you actually expect like some sort of applaud for choosing to come home first.
Yes.
So kama
appreciation tu kidogo.
Haina shida.
Ngoja. Ama ina sound like so you are coming to your like
si unakuja tu home. Pia mimi mbona mimi nikikuja home mimi si expect the same applaud. Si nimefika mtaani. Si hapo ndo tunalala, hapo ndio home.
Did you expect? Sasa sisi mimi nakwambia. Sasa unataka kutupenda vile wewe ungependwa. Sisi tupende sisi tunataka kupenda.
Ngoja kwanza before we go too far. So let's nikuulize. So kama wewe unaona kama like that situation, because every single time you've talked about this, reference the fact that nilikuwa tu naenda home. Na boy wako pia hapa anakusupport. Alikuwa tu anaenda home.
Ni ukweli.
Sasa kama unaona kama hiyo situation kama ingekupata ukiwa dunda ama if you are up to no good, kidogo hivi ungeona ni kama una deserve it, maybe Mungu anakupiga kiboko ama nini?
First of all, ingenipata kama nilikuwa ninaenda dunda ama nimetoka dunda, hiyo gari ningeenda ni repair tu mwenyewe.
Ungejiingisha kwa hiyo story yote in the first place. Utaki ngori.
Sitaki ngori.
Okay.
Sitaki ngori.
Unaona ile dynamics ni different.
Would it be the same for you also?
Ni tofauti.
Sasa kondo kadunda kwa uko sawa. Kwa hiyo unaenda dunda kudu.
Ungeenda tu home. Ungeenda tu home.
From the garage first.
Nirefu sana.
Put a pin on it. You are trying to make a point. Please proceed.
So you have it is story serious. Umeikuwa sasa, other than that part where you let your guard down, and when you let your guard down, it ended up landing you on the wrong side of the law just because you let your guard down. In the sense that you saw the good in the lady, but the lady saw otherwise, which makes you a very good man. Yeah.
So only now, because I'm wearing my glasses, they cannot see me rolling my eyes. But let the record reflect, I am rolling my eyes a lot right now.
With the police, for instance, come in ile time ilikuwa time dude imekuwa taura,
unatoka ukiingia.
Sherehe nyingine ndio kwa leo kwa
mbele.
Umejipata kwa hizo alafu you try umejipata kwa situation gani?
Well, who hasn't?
Yeah, if you living in
Nairobi. Sikimekuramba hii Nairobi. Guy. Nikifanya nini? Nikifanya nini?
So
mimi sijawahi kwa chokora, excuse me. Mimi sijawahi kwa chokora. Mkale
umeanza juice
had born mkale ni batemesende tinye is me, lakini yo pate uchokora is where I draw the line.
Yes, I've had an incident, of course, way back when I was still a young man. I'm still young, but I was younger. As a younger
in
man,
your youth,
in my youth.
What?
Okay. So back then,
Juju.
Mbio. Back then, bana, mnataka kunianika. Work so hard. Ni haribu na siku moja
bwana.
Hapana, tu juju.
Sawa. So, of course, I've had a run-in with the law before. Back then when I was still playing rugby, I remember there's a weekend that we had a game. Tulikuwa tumeshinda. So of course the tradition, there's tradition, once you've won, you have to go out as boys, have a drink or two, then went to home. Yeah. So there's this particular day, tulikuwa tumecheza, so we had won, so we came into town, CBD Nairobi. Tukasema wacha tuende, tuchape drinks kidogo, alafu kila msee aende home. So katika harakati kwenye mikakati za kutenga
na kusherekea
can already tell this is going to go left.
All of a sudden cops show up. They're like, nyinyi watu vijana kujeni hapa, mbona mnakunywa pombe town? So I'm like, okay, afande, unajua hapana, hii hata si pombe nini tunaweza ongea, vile watu hujitetea. Then makosa ikafanyika. A teammate that you were with, akatokea tu huko na kierere. Akuja anasema, I'm also a cop. I'm also a cop. So like, ni polisi, ingieni hapa ndani. Na hivyo ndo tuliingizwa kwa Mariam. Straight mpaka Central Police Station. And remember, Central iko wapi? Iko CBD.
University we pale huko.
Hadi machokocho wanatupa huko ndani.
Kila mtu.
Like the homeless guys. Kila mtu anarusha huko ndani. It was such an experience.
Ulidishizo makabeji nini?
Buda sikuweza dishi man.
Eh.
Sikuweza dishi.
Baby boy from
baby boy man.
In it.
Huyu ni kiduyu pia. Usimuone hivi.
Nilikwambia
nimezoea soft life bana, anapelekwa manze, nimewekwa na machopo chuko ndani nini shit.
Wasn't that traumatizing?
It was. It was. The good thing is, you know, we were
ulikuwa lit a little. Yeah.
Tradition in the so I was like, let's wait for tomorrow.
Do you think you would have had like a different experience if like that happened to you, like when you were sober in just like a regular day?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because now you're sleeping on the floor, ni baridi.
You've never done that in your life before.
Never done that before. Doing it first time in a police cell. I mean, it was quite an experience. I remember I was with my girlfriend at the time. So mimi nikishikwa, yeye alibaki
nje. Ayo alikushughulikia
alinishughulikia lakini alikuwa so worried because I mean she didn't know how to handle the situation. It's like she even wanted to stay in the station for the whole night, but akaambiwa jamaa huwezi msaidia saa hii. Enda tu nyumbani
wewe.
Enda nyumbani. Enda nyumbani urudi ukiongea lugha mzuri.
Kama huwezi ongea saa hii.
Unajua what has come to my mind right now? Hizo zilikuwa zile siku za zile masoap za Kwande Sosmia. Akayapo nje ya station. Akaivi ako na distress.
Akingoja mzee.
Uweke hiyo ka background music, sad kidogo. Anangoja leza toke.
But eventually, after the night, we actually released the next day. Yeah, and I went home. First of all, nikaenda kwa place ya kuku na chipo.
Sanford.
Kwanza tu.
That must have been Sanford here, by the way.
Yes, because that's the nearest one actually. Ukitoka Central.
I
know.
I agree.
Sanford, sindio? Alafu unajua it's the most proximate.
Hizo kuku wazi na slap. Vile wazi zinakuanga tu produced in mass and stuff. But so I ate and I went home. So that was it.
Na ukavaa hiyo makosa utarudia siku nyingine?
I've never. I've never.
Unaleta madunda huku
kwa estate. Alimsaidia sana.
Ever since that hatujakuwa na hizi
incidences.
No, itakuwa.
Hakuna.
Nowadays we do local.
Lakini shida zake sasa ni kubwa. Alcohol below sijui nini. Unajua sasa hizo shida zote wanatenda.
Na kwa nini siwache tu moti nyumbani? Kwa nini must? Siwache tu moti nyumbani. Panda nduri ama upande bike.
Unatoka job
Ngori. Okay, aya.
Dynamics.
Yeah.
You know,
if you already know,
sometimes you don't like have a calendar ati naenda kukunywa.
Bas.
Sometimes nakupata.
Maneno inaweza badilika in the middle of the day. Yeah. I can understand that.
Just try.
Yeah. If there's a safe, if there's a safe place you can leave the moti, the better.
Please.
Yeah. Usijipate kwa hiyo nini. Wewe venye unauliza watu maswali hapa na nguvu. Pewe venye nakuona hivi. Kwani mimi ni nini?
Sasa mbona unauliza swali? Situuze hizi swali.
Asia ameshatuambia story yake mbili kwanza. Ameshatuambia mbili. Deadly.
Unataka yangu? Mimi sijaishi kwa na polisi. Okay, nimeishi.
Ulishikwa wapi?
Hapo sasa ndio ni ngumu kidogo kusema inaweza haribu.
Inaweza choma. Hata pia mimi unajua hata the minute I said it with my mouth like this, pia mimi nika regret because I've just remembered even me the first and the only story that I know enye nimekuwa na mapolisi na nini pia mimi itanchomea.
Lakini juju tu. So now I used to live in Royce at some point in my life. So we've left the house with a buddy of mine. Late in the evening, we are going to look for pork. Yeah, let's look for pork. Let's use pork now.
Yeah. That's code, guys.
So mwanzo tu hiyo siku ndio msema makupiga malap bana. Kijana kujeni hapa. Mbona mnatembea usiku? Kaambia hata unaona tumeishiwa.
Tumekuja kutafuta chakula bro.
Hata hatuna shida na mtu.
Hatuna shida na mtu.
Usumbui mtu. Nye mesende the whole time.
Hiyo misende
Yeah.
hiyo. But anyway, hatukufika kwa tule kwa tu pingu. Tukaongeleshwa. Pia si tukaongea poa. Alafu tukaenda home. Tuliongea tu kwa tukaenda home.
But I'm sure mlilala njaa hiyo siku.
Tulala njaa.
Hata unatoa wapi guts ya kuendelea kutafuta hiyo pork after that. Ai unalala hivyo.
Tulala njaa hiyo siku.
Niko sure.
But yeah, I think anyone who's lived in Nairobi,
You've had a run.
Yeah, kidogo tu.
Yeah. Hizi zingine siwezi sema ni running. Sometimes you sleep kidogo ama I think the only one that I think this is what people noting. So this day, what happens is it got to a point when we stopped registering churches. And now the only way you can get a registration certificate is if you get a church that is going under and then, okay, now transfer this to me. Okay? Yeah. When you used to register churches, it was about 500 bob societies. Right now, the cheapest certificate to run a church is 300,000.
Okay. Sorry. I shifted in my chair kidogo because I think this is the second time you've like shocked me in this season. The first time is when Hansen told me about the fact that huku Kenya, like I thought like I'm sharing like such a huge fact nikimwambia we unajua kuna course uko South Africa. Remember when we were shooting episode 1?
Yes.
Get to know us.
Yes.
I told him like, do you know there's actually a course in South African universities where they learn about witchcraft. Hansen actually told me there's a witchcraft act in Kenya. I didn't know.
Is there?
Yeah.
There is. He found it and he posted it. Sasa saizi unaniambia tena ati churches can go under. Basically a church can go bankrupt.
Yes.
Na sadaka.
Yeah.
Proceed.
You'll find that, or maybe the founders died, it never kicked off or something. So
My God, it's a ministry.
sasa usifikirie hivyo, wewe ni wakili. That's where you go wrong. We tell what we don't.
Until we do what?
There's nothing that is going around. We don't judge. Something is we speak what we don't judge.
That one.
We listen but we don't judge.
Yes.
Yeah.
One.
But then you get to say something very controversial that would people
Sasa,
that
this
would
could
make
be
people
that.
like
This could be that. Listen and don't judge. Yeah.
okay.
I'm a man of faith, so this will shock people.
That's exactly why I'm even wondering why you're actually propagating this story.
So I get this client comes to the office and says that I want to buy a church. And I'm like, yeah, fine, let's get a church.
Okay. Let me just keep an open mind. Keep going.
So I source, I get a church, we go to Sharia house, and we start the process of transferring the church to this guy. So I won't go into the details because I can't disclose. That's and ideally now, because we had a certificate, when you do the search, the church actually exists. The only difference is the only thing that makes that certificate fake, and it's business that is being done. But therefore, guys who are buying churches, be very careful. That church was registered, I think, in 1997 thereabout. So what you do is you get an old church that has not been filing returns, it's non-compliant, it's...
So there's a lot of cleanup for you as the wakili.
So basically it's a dormant church legally. Yeah? Then you transfer it to the new guys and then these guys revive it. The paper that was used to make that fake certificate, at that time in 1997, it was not beige, it was blue.
Say that again.
So the certificate, we had a certificate. The guy who was selling had the certificate, but it was fake.
It's supposed to be color blue, but
The paper that was used during that time was beige, yes. But the
So
signature...
nowadays it's blue. Usually.
No.
Nowadays, what's the color?
Yes, the ones that right now, they are blue.
Oh, okay,
yes.
okay. So that is where the difference
discrepancy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think they switched blue beige. But in 1990 at that time, the one that I had was the one that I had was beige. But at the time it was blue.
Okay.
What was presented to you was the beige
Yes.
instead of the blue version. That's what helped you
At the
like
time, the government was using
was blue.
Was blue.
But the one that was presented to you at the time when the person was buying the
Yes,
church was beige.
Yes.
Okay.
But right now it's back to blue.
Okay.
Yes. But the signature,
Kila
check.
kitu.
Intact. Kila kitu.
Kila kitu. The only difference is the color of the paper used. The type of the paper, thick, conqueror, the government watermark.
Iko tu sawa.
Kila kitu.
Mpaka iko embossed na ile nini ya register.
Now you tell me as a lawyer, what kind of due diligence can I do to ensure that I even know the color of the paper? Humanly impossible.
In 1997, were you even grown enough? Acha nisiongee vibaya.
Ukwe very careful.
Yeah, ndio maana I've chosen to laugh instead and swallow everything I was going to say. Because in 1997, honestly, where were we? There's no way that we would have known that a document is supposed to look like that. Yeah. But you see, if you get like the current one and then you look at the fake one, bora signatures inafanana, iko na your embossment ya registrar.
In fact, at that point, I hated being a lawyer. Because I didn't even know. I thought a lawyer and an advocate, okay, which is true, are different people. They are.
Yeah.
But I thought advocate into a mashamba. Then lawyer, I was just. But anyway, at that young age, give me props.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
I knew.
At least ulikuwa unajua difference. Yeah. At least
But
ulikuwa
anyway.
una rely on legally blonde like the rest of us.
Simi nimesema, but over. So now
Lakini
we
sisi tuko hapa kwa
proceed.
bench pamoja.
We proceed. Mambo ya Mungu. And I levelize everyone. Nacha nikwambia historia ya kulevelize. Yenye law can be funny. Mnatokanga huko nyi wote, mmetoka wengine Leeds, sijui wapi nyi wote.
Practice.
Hapo. Ng'ang'aneni basi.
Kawa ni mnoma pita hapa upractice. Back to my story. So now we proceed with the transfer. The transfer is done.
Now you're
It's not- no,
facilitating
the transfer-
now the transfer to
everything
the
is
new
done,
person
the
who's supposed to
paperwork
own the
is
church.
Setting of the park also had an issue because it was the couple who had divorced and they were not willing to sign. So let me not go into those details.
Sorry, kidogo tu. The people who are not willing to sign, the divorced couple, are they the people who are selling or the ones who are buying?
Selling.
Okay.
So the husband was okay, but
The wife had an issue.
actually she was already late. So we were dealing with the administrator, was the daughter who did not want.
Yeah.
church
Yeah,
is-
complicated. Yeah.
So now, tumefika part ya kulodge documents for
Registration.
No. Yes, amendment of register. Because you see, you're not registering afresh. You are submitting the old certificate, not
A
register
new one
and then you
can-
give you a new certificate.
And
To reflect the new owners.
To reflect the new everything. Tunamana registrar is a fake certificate.
We.
Umeenda hapo wakili
Boss.
na suti ya kusumbua.
Tungefungwa. The registrar just exercised discretion and said, I'd understand what's happening. And they'd had a lot of issues. People
Such
doing
cases.
that could have tanked my career, you know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
sure.
Because now we've paid 300k already out. We've paid unajua pesa imeenda. Mimi nimelipa legal fees yangu mmaliza.
Ushakula already.
Client amekuja amesema, by the way, ile tutafanya ni utanirudishia doo yangu yote.
Gani? Gani bro?
Including yamelipa.
Gani?
Boss.
Eh,
Anyway, we fixed the situation. We found a way. We went to the registrar. We had a conversation with the owners. They signed. They later on decided it's okay. They appeared, and we were able to do the transfer. So churches are being bought out here, and they are expensive. That certificate used to be registered with 500 bob. Right now, 300,000
Gs.
cheapest.
And that, Ebu, let me ask you, so that just for context purposes, even for the people who are viewing, at what point was it 500 bob, and at what point are we paying 300k? So 500 was in 1997 when they were registering the first
even
time.
recently.
History ya kina Kanyari wakitumia. Remember when there was a
Story ya
problem with-
310.
When it became so bad, churches were using people. That's where they stopped.
That was like 2018, no?
No, it's
Haya, pana story ya Kanyari yezi kwa nini? It's pre-COVID, around 2018 hapo. Yeah.
Since then,
Yeah.
Hiyo imekuwa ngumu sana.
Imekuwa hard,
so that's how people get churches. So if you're buying a church out there, be very careful. But I have experience. Now I know to identify a fake certificate.
At least, for as long as it is beige, you are buying the wrong thing. You are buying the wrong
Sometimes
thing.
they say you actually,
Yeah.
you know, you get the experience as you're working. Some things you can't learn.
You
in
really
school.
can't predict.
Can't
Yeah.
learn.
No, but hizo zingine huwezi learn. Hizo
Huwezi,
ndio relax. How
huwezi
would you
learn
know the
direct.
color was blue in
Hawezi.
How?
And then the due diligence that you're also expected to conduct as a lawyer is first to compare the signatures. Do the signatures match?
Everything
Like, do the
was
dates?
set,
You know, the dates. Mpaka iko na umesema hadi ilikuwa na hiyo embossment ya nini ya registrar, kila kitu.
Kila kitu hata watamakia serikali kwa hiyo karatasi.
So unataka kuniambia pia watu wa kanisa wanafanya forgery mbaya?
Most of the people, you know, churches compliance ziko chini kidogo. When you see the MPs trying to push for some compliance, churches don't pay taxes. People use churches to clean money.
Yeah, most.
I'll just say it's sadaka. You can't pay my sadaka.
Yeah. No, actually, yeah, tithe. Like, I'm tithing. Yeah.
There are no receipts and
So that's what is happening now. Nimetumwa na sadaka.
So unachukua
You come.
ama acha niache hiyo mambo ya
Let's not paint the picture. Let's just think we are criminals.
Yeah,
Please.
but the thing is, people use churches to do dirty business.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's easy to do it. And guys have been using it in the past. And you've seen
And
it even. There's evidence for that, yeah?
Yeah.
And not just in Kenya, but it's an African problem.
Okay.
Yeah?
And it's like one of the most, like, you would least be suspected to take, like, you know, that
My wife
kind
was
of
so
business.
against that business. Akaniambia auntie wachana na kitu. Wacha nikamwambia bana tunahitaji pesa.
Tufanye nini bwana? Unga
Labo urudishe legal fees.
Kidogo hivi. Legal fees hapa plus pesa ya kununua kanisa.
Statutory fee.
It was bad. But anyway, we got away to
circumvent
to
that.
circumvent but tucheze mambo ya Mungu.
See jokes.
Just
Yeah,
cheze.
see jokes.
It's actually very interesting that as lawyers you have such experiences. And it brings me to a question that I've always had in my mind. As lawyers, you deal with all types of cases. Mara ni si divorce, mara ni mtu anagongwa church, mara
I just had to.
mara ni sijui gari imefanya nini. I mean, you basically sometimes act as shrinks, psychiatrists, right? Naweza taka kujua nyi uko paje na hiyo story, because I believe you guys take in so much in your day-to-day dealings with different people, with different situations.
I believe you will give your take on like what your experience has been like and how you've chosen to cope about it. But me personally, I believe as a lawyer and specifically an advocate who actually gets to represent people on different, it doesn't even matter the kind of industry that you work in. There's one skill for me that feels that is the most important you can have as a lawyer. You can be very educated, you can be very connected and all that. But if you don't have emotional management skills, you can't hack in this career. Because you see, every single thing that pertains to any single case that you ever handle, be it family, be it divorce, be it property, be it like just a regular like litigation, be it criminal, whatever kind of law that you handle, just know that you're impacting someone's life in a personal capacity, such that your inaction or action, or you're choosing to do one or the other, will actually impact this person directly. So emotional management is key. One, needing to understand that these are the possible outcomes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can already have figured out whatever the outcomes. Some can be in the favor of the client, some can be not in the favor of the client. But your delivery of that is what makes you a good lawyer. Because you see, if it works in the advantage of the client, you're able to steer their thought pattern towards like, this is how it's going to be advantageous for you. And for us to be able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for you, we need to be able to take up steps 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But if I can already see that it's going to be disadvantageous for you, I need to be able to find a way in my delivery to be very delicate about it, to tell you like, yes, this will work in your disadvantage like this. However, these are the solutions that are available, or these are the dangers that you actually risk. So at least with your delivery like that, you are able to put the client in a place of ease where 1, they feel like they have options. Number 2, they feel like they're being heard. Number 3, they feel like they're being understood. it's all about the feeling. It's not about the facts. Like, you can show up in court on time. You can file the documents on time. But I'm calling you my wakili all the time. You don't pick my calls. You don't tell me what is happening. You could be doing everything towards like my own benefit, but me, you're not telling me. I need to feel like you're on top of your game and you're guiding me through this in a way that you empathize and you understand my situation. So me, like, through that, emotional management is something that is like really important. And second, that part for managing, I usually feel like just take on what you can handle. Personally, there are certain areas of law I cannot practice, not because I can't, not because I don't know how to, but it's because of how I feel like it's going to affect me emotionally to the point where it's going to touch on my objectivity. Then I'm not able to deliver to you as a client. You see, I choose corporate specifically because this is a company. A company ni a structure is not a person. Like, yeah, there are people who thrive in litigation because that empathetic side of them is the thing that drives them to keep doing that. I, on the other hand, I would not do that because I probably might end up getting lost in the source of like your situation emotionally to the point where it actually affects my objectivity such that I'm not able to show up for you as your wakili the way you expect. Yeah, me, that's my opinion. Like, I just feel like emotional management is a key skill that every lawyer should have. Yeah, I don't know you what you think, wakili.
For me, I'd say I've gotten to a point where there are cases I cannot take as well. Yeah. As much as I'm required not to turn down a client, but as you said, we are doctors. We can't be everything.
Yeah.
There are areas of law that you can decide this is not will not be my area of speciality. But for me, it was after an experience that I used to do criminal litigation as well, which I no longer practice anymore unless it's fraud, anything to do with corporate, that I'll do. In terms of criminal, but civil litigation I do in terms of children, that which also needs a lot of emotional management skills
And emotional intelligence.
yeah, because your client's matter is not yours. You need to be objective and empathetic at the same time. It's not an easy balance. But how you asked how we cope, for me is, as I'll echo what Val said, number one, mastering the art of knowing that this is not your matter, it's your client's matter. But before I got there was a time I was defending somebody who had committed a sexual offense, which we call SO in our profession. And after I did not complete the case because of the emotional. At the time, young lawyer, broke, needed money. The money was good, and now funny thing, the guy who was representing, his legal fees was being paid by his pastor. Mimi nakwambia kuna vitu zingine, hii sheria kuna vitu si uona, kuna vitu
we see things. I feel like lawyers and doctors.
And so a double, in fact, he had assaulted, I think, 2 girls. And the person paying his legal fees is his pastor. It just got to a point. The time I left, it was in Makadara. I left the courtroom. That was just after our closing arguments. And the next thing that happened was I see the lady, one of the ladies, the grandmother, the mother, and I think some lady they had huddled in. No, man. They are crying.
Sasa kitu sikuelewa ni, I'm walking out of the courtroom and they all lift their heads up. All of them lift their heads up and they look at me. I'm like, when did they notice me? Did they sense me? Because they were huddled in and they were crying.
They were crying, yeah.
So na ino hivi kichwa na wananiangalia.
Then wanaendelea kulia, wale ndio tu makasi niko.
Wamekulani.
The man that was given, including that already eaten.
Ulitoa kwa mfuko yako,
Yes.
Ukarudisha.
Nikamwambia my partner at the time at the farm. Nikampatia do. Nikamwambia cheki. If I nisione kwa farm. I am done.
Probably the last time I did a criminal law case.
Like basically you told him like handle it in your personal
6th of
capacity.
February,
Don't let it form
2020.
part of our portfolio.
Shika. 6th of February 2020. Last time.
Hujawahi hadi date unajua.
I can even actually see them, but it took some time. Right now, I'm okay. But that time I took some time off from practice kidogo because that hit me hard. Like the prosecution, you know, when it comes to sexual offenses, they're very delicate cases. If the prosecution does not do a good job, the investigating officer, not the prosecution, because the prosecution relies on the evidence given to them
By the IO, investigating
Yes,
officer.
yes.
Yeah.
and if the investigations are not properly done and the forensics are not properly done, because there are a lot of scientific evidence that needs to go into proving that there's such an offense. Sometimes it's easy to get exonerated from such a particular offense just because the investigations were mishandled.
All
And
you
that
just
was
need
the
to do
case.
is like just challenge the evidence and you're out.
Just challenge the evidence, which
Yeah.
was easy. It's easy to challenge the evidence when you are defending. But I think from that day, I just chose, this is not my line. I don't have the gut for it. And it is difficult. That there are some that you see like that one I could not handle. I could not find a solution. I need to go for therapy at some point, counseling, just to manage the situation. But but these other areas like children, where children are involved, sometimes also they get to me kidogo, but I've found a way to manage it, especially if you're handling a children's case. For instance, if there was bullying, and at that point I was bullied in school, so kuna venye
Objectivity outside kidogo hapo because you're emotionally involved. Yeah.
So
it's
invested
sometimes
up
it's difficult
about.
to find that
Yeah.
balance.
Yeah.
You end up grilling a child the same way you'd grill a
Yeah.
Grown up.
Yeah.
But anyway,
grown up.
that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's how we've been handling that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what
For
we're
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think what we're trying to communicate in a collective is that you just know where your line is, like where you draw the boundary. Like you just know this is what I can handle and this is what I can't handle. This messes with my values in this and this way, and it's going to affect me mentally like this, like that. I didn't know that about you, Broski. Pole sana about that experience. Use a Joe.
Mambo ya dunia hii.
Mambo ya dunia. Uko sawa sasa? Fresh barida.
Mm.
But at least you know deep down within your heart, no matter how much money you're offering me, I'm not willing to go through the emotional turmoil that I did during that time. Yeah. Yeah. So I think like to just answer your question through both our experiences, I think it's mostly just knowing where you draw the line. Like this is where I'm at, this is what I'm able to do, and this is what I'm not able to do. There are lawyers out here, by the way, who thrive in the criminal industry. Like they're the kind of people who utakuja hadi kutafutwa hadi kwako. Mtu anaweza kuambia, "Ni nini shida? Uko wapi? Ndakutumia hadi gari. Kuja. I need you to sort it out for me." And they thrive at that. Not to say that they don't have a conscience, but maybe even them, they have like a system, how they work through, how to separate the two. Yeah. So, but at least thank you for, he's probably like one of the very few people who actually like cares about like how lawyers cope through things like these. I don't think I've ever been asked that question before. Have you?
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Kumbe una nini?
Kuna karo hapo.
What? Kumbe wewe si mse mbaya.
He's a good man.
Chunga bwana, DCI watanitafuta.
Uko pabaya. But yeah, this episode has been great. Les, it's been really, really amazing having you here at the Wide Podcast. First of all, if we didn't make it like very, very obvious, like you are our first guest here. So you hold a special place in our hearts, in our podcast, in our, this platform. And like basically what we're trying to give the audience is like a snippet of what you can expect in season 2. Ikifika maneno ya kuongea rugby, mkimwona tena, msiulize maneno mingi. Simesikia ni director pale Rugby Union. If you want to talk about all things
rugby.
finance, you also mentioned that you work for a financial institution.
I also work for a financial institution.
We might invite you, if you're up for it, we might invite you
am.
for another segment
Yes,
during
I am.
our second
Yes, I
season. So yeah, Les, thank you so much for making the time to be here, to be a part of our platform. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank you as our audience for riding and dying with us. By the time you're watching this, this means that this is our season finale, episode 10. And I also want to congratulate you and us. Just remember the way Nani said, I think it was Was it Snoop or ilikuwa Jay-Z? Snoop. I thank me for showing up for me. Yes. So me, I thank us for showing up for Wide. Yes. I thank us for showing up for you. Right. So yeah, broski, high five. We committed to this and we've delivered. Every single Tuesday, an episode has dropped and we have never failed to do that. Don't expect anything less in season 2. If anything, bigger and better things, more interactive conversations, more in-depth conversations about the different things that we introduced during season 1. So we hope to see you here again next year. By the time you're watching this, this is going to be our last episode of the year. And it's going to be dropping on the what?
It will drop.
It will drop when it drops.
It will drop.
It will drop when it drops.
Yes.
Yeah. But by the time you're watching it, it's going to be our last episode of December. We will resume shooting again and we will announce the new dates for when you can expect season 2 and what is supposed to happen and whatnot. The merchandise and everything, if you have any comment, any question, any segment that you'd like for us to handle, we'd like for you to let us know in our comment section so that we can continue to plan for that in advance, so that we can bring you the experts who can actually give you the right information that you require based off of different areas of the law. A special shout out to our diaspora audience. Thank you so much for your indulgence. Thank you so much for interacting with our content. Thank you so much for the questions that you've been asking. And we have also taken into account the things that you want us to talk about. And we are going to drop like a content calendar on some things that you can expect to see in season 2. Yep. So before we end the episode, I'd like us to do 2 things, me and you, since we've been doing this since our first episode was on the 1st of October, and we've really labored, like only you and I and our production team, kina Saruni, kina Omalei hapa, they're the only ones who can understand. Tuko na Omalei, by the way. Tuko na Omalei. Omalei, Saruni, and Saimo, our production team, only us can be able to understand like the things that we have been through, to just ensure that at least you guys get an episode every week. So Broski, I want you to tell me one thing that you're really grateful for this year, and one thing that Wide, like shooting for Wide, has taught you before we close.
Okay, one thing that I'm grateful for this year is the fact that we've endured the season. It's not been an easy thing. Wide has taught me, I think when I did answer the question, what
you can combine me, actually. Yeah.
Wide has taught me resilience.
Yeah.
It is not easy. It is not easy. Paying creative scare guys, hashtag. Hii kitu ni noma.
Ni noma.
Ni noma. But it's taught me resilience. It's taught me patience. It's even taught me how to apply the law, because there are things that I did not do that I think we would have done. We would have not had the hiccups we had. So there are lessons that I've learned that
ungejipata na certificate ya beige.
But yeah, that's pretty much for me. And then yeah, I'm just grateful that we got to this part of the season.
Yeah. And in honoring our guest with us today, just because you're not part of the hosting part of Wide, but you have taken out your time to come and be part of us. You've supported us since day one. I also want you to tell us one thing that you're grateful for this year generally, and one thing that you never thought like, what, that was a thing, but you learned it from Wide. Yeah.
Well, it's been a long year. I'm just grateful that we are in December. December. Tumefika December.
Yes.
It's been a long year. I mean, if you look at the whole business environment, even those guys who are working, we've had a lot of instability. You look at the tax regime, kila kitu imekuwa up in the air. It's just grateful that we are at the end of the year, and we're looking forward to 2025, and we're hoping that things will stabilize a bit, and you're able to do good business, and you're able to predict the business environment.
Spoken like a true entrepreneur. Bana, Now tell us one thing that wasn't a thing that you never, like, it's just something that crossed your mind that you never thought it was a thing, but you learned from Wide.
What I learned from Wide, the episode that stood out for me is the one, the trust issues. One, I think many people, people think trusts are for the rich. And if you feel like you don't have much, you don't feel like you need to,
set up an entity
set
like
up
that.
and,
Yeah.
and do those things. I think it was eye-opening for me. I think that is one of the episodes that really stood out for me. And I'm glad that I actually got to have an in-depth view of how that works.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
Hey, that's how you know this is like an OG supporter.
Yeah.
3, 4 hapo.
Yeah.
3, 4. Hata si wenye wa kurekod hata tuko sure.
Yeah,
nakumbuka.
Rudi
It stood out for me. It really stood out for me.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Les. High five. Good job. For me, health, wellness is one thing that I have been very grateful for this year. Now more than ever, I realize that it's one thing that people take so much for granted until the day you don't have that you don't have like that ability to be able to do the things that you used to be able to do on a regular basis. And not because you don't want to, it's because your body is forcing you to not, because you're either unwell, you're burnt out, whatever it is. I've also like been grateful for the opportunity to rest every single time I get a chance to, because again, we always say it all the time. If you don't find the time to rest, imagine your body will force you to. Yeah.
Itakwambia
Will force
sasa
you to. Sasa, ni wewe usimame ama mimi nisimame. Chagua.
wewe amua.
Yeah. So for me, that's like the point of gratitude. Just like going throughout the whole year, I've barely been sick except that one instance. And I think that's when I appreciated it the most. Nilikula pork. Mahali. Wewe.
Ikakurarukia.
In fact, after that food poisoning, imagine I'm not even jealous. That's when I really appreciated like that, just the sheer idea of just waking up and you're feeling okay.
It's a good thing you say that, because I have a colleague who recently aliumiza like the pinky finger. Then she was like, kumbe hii kidole pia huwa inatumika. Like you never really know. You never really know the importance of your body or one of your body parts until you're not able to actually use it.
Yeah. Thank you so much to every single person who has vibed with us from episode 1 up until where we are at. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We wouldn't be here without you. Please like, share, subscribe, and share our episodes to kwanza sasa hivi mnaenda holiday, mtumie watu wa kwenyu ndio waone. Ndio season 2 tukianza tunaanza from the same page. Yeah, you'll love it, but at least it's a fun one. See, it's very brain intensive. So I just want us to do like a cheers and wish people happy holidays, and we close out the episode, right? Cheers! Happy holidays!
Happy holidays, guys.
Bye, everybody. See you in
Peace
season
out.
2.